A popular Star Wars fan theory states that Clumsy Jar Jar Binks is actually a Sith Lord and mastermind behind all the events of the Star Wars movies, and there is a surprising amount of evidence to back that up. In 1999, when Jar Jar first appeared in cinema in The Phantom Menace, he was the first fully CGI-generated character in a live-action film ever. Despite that being a great technical achievement for that time, Jar Jar faced controversial attention from the beginning, being labeled a comic relief and held symbolic for everything that went wrong with the prequel trilogy.
No. No one wants to see Jar Jar Binks again.
So basically like Rey in the sequels, but with the kids liking him. Probably thinking that he deserved better, in 2015, Reddit user Lumpavaru published a detailed theory speculating that Binks was originally written as a major antagonist of the series, a manipulative, prominent collaborator of Palpatine, before being written off from his major villain's role due to the character's negative reception. This theory was related to an earlier interview with actor Ahmed Best, where he claimed that Jar Jar had been displaced from the story's main focus due to the negative backlash. And also George Lucas subsequently made some relevant statements in this direction.
Jar Jar is a key to all this. If we get Jar Jar working, because he's a funnier character than we've ever had in any of the movies before.
Subsequently, fans started to reach for evidence, breaking down every scene Jar Jar was anyhow present. Fans like me. And even though these videos should not be taken too seriously, there are actually many hints that support the theory Jar Jar is actually a Sith Lord. Even more if you bear in mind that all of his movements are CGI hand animated, so the animator had to have a clear plan every time he made Jar Jar make a move. So based on this, here are the most important arguments that Jar Jar is a Sith Lord, pointed out by the fans. Number 1. His hand gestures. Jar Jar moves his hands like an Italian almost every time he talks, but when he is involved in decision making or trying to convince somebody, he uses his hand gestures almost in a way a Jedi uses the mind trick. Next, his fighting skills. Despite appearing rather clumsy most of the time, Jar Jar is actually a decent fighter. No matter how bad the odds seem to be, Jar Jar always manages to get out of trouble by often also taking out overwhelming enemy forces. The way he dodges blaster bolts or uses his reflexes reminds of them of Force users and was compared to the Drunken Master style by many fans. So is his clumsiness a disguise? Jar Jar always manages to pull off wild stunts like taking down multiple enemies with a blaster caught around his ankle. Is he really just a lucky guy or covering up his Force skills? Next, he also supported the main characters in key situations. Jar Jar helped Anakin win the pod race in episode 1 as he wrenched around Anakin's racer several times, and also did the last modifications before the start, as you also won't expect him to have much technical experience. Also, he gave Palpatine the crucial emergency powers needed to oppose the Separatists, and ultimately also used to form the Emperor. Finally, he also offered military support to the Nabooan Queen and made the Gungan unite with the Naboo again. There are also many more hints, such as Jar Jar knew that Padme was the real queen first, but counting them all would make this video too long. The main antagonist to this theory is probably the Rule of Two, stating that there are only 2 Sith Lords allowed at one time. But throughout the prequels, Palpatine didn't seem to bother too much with the Rule of Two, as he also recruited Sith assassins such as Asai Ventress, and also kept Maul in his crime-leading positions, as he found out that Maul survived and returned, despite already having Count Dooku as his apprentice. Following these detailed breakdowns, the theory rapidly gained popularity. Ahmed Best, the actor of Jar Jar, responded with a Twitter post to the hype, stating, "I will say this, it feels so good when the hidden meaning behind the work is seen, no matter how long it takes. #TPM. And the hashtag here refers to The Phantom Menace, where Jar Jar has his most appearances, seeming like confirming the theory itself. but depending on interpretation, it can also more seen as him appreciating Jar Jar finally becoming a respected character after the major backlash he had to suffer for the last 15 years. All speculations aside and focusing only on the facts, until now it is not officially confirmed by George Lucas that he originally planned to reveal Jar Jar as the main villain in the prequels, even though this quote of Jar Jar being the key to all this and that he is his favorite character in the franchise can be interpreted in many ways. It is very plausible that Jar Jar was intended to play a some way much more significant role in the prequels, but was then reduced to a comic relief side character in the following films due to the negative backlash. The current common belief is that Jar Jar was originally intended to be, more than he is now, possibly planned as some kind of secret villain, but because of his negative reception and also because he was a kid's favorite, George Lucas dismissed the idea and introduced Count Dooku as the main antagonist during the Clone Wars instead, putting Jar Jar in the background and demoting him to a gradually unimportant side character once he granted emergency powers to Palpatine. So, coming to an end, the Darth Jar Jar theory tried to give more credit to and make out more of a character with an unlucky production background story. Nevertheless, it made Jar Jar much more popular and less hated among the fans, so overall it might also help to reflect upon the past and finally settle the negative connotation of Jar Jar.